necessity, not a choice. He will have some harsher words for the Afghan President Hamid Karzai, but that much is about as far as new as it gets. He's simply restating the case for this mission. His critics are telling him, look, you know, if you seriously do believe that withdrawal would put the streets of Britain at greater risk, if you believe that withdrawal would give al-Qaeda sympathisers around the world a major boost, then you just simply need to come out and say that with a lot more force. And I think we will see over the coming days and weeks the Prime Minister coming out and saying that much more loudly and much more often.
Chris Shipp there in Downing Street. Now, Gordon Brown's statement will come as we hear of the grief of the families of the 3 guardsmen and 2 Royal Military Police officers betrayed by an Afghan policeman. Paul Davis reports on their memories of 5 heroes killed by a man they trusted.
Guardsman Jimmy Major, at 18, was the youngest of the 5 Britons killed by a man they were helping to train.
He was doing what he wanted to do and he was happy. And he's died a hero and we love him.
Jimmy's mum says his passing out parade last November was one of the proudest days of his life. Today, Jimmy's family were expressing their pride in him.
I could go on all day about Jim. He's a proper fella. Good lad.
Was he a gentleman when he was a bicycle?
Yep. I mean, I kept calling him one of the kids, you know. But you're not a kid when you go out there and fight for your country. Lots of people are doing it, but they're not all dying for it, thankfully.
The 5 who died at the hands of a rogue police officer were fathers, sons, husbands and partners. Today, those who knew them best remembered the fallen with tears and tributes. Warrant Officer Darren Chant, Regimental Sergeant Major of the Grenadier Guards, once carried a comrade who'd lost a leg a mile to a helicopter. On the day he died, he should have found out he'd been awarded a commission as an officer. His wife, Nosheen, says, "Our unborn son will never meet his father, but he will know him through his legacy. I will miss my best friend and nothing will fill the void he has left, my darling Darren." Sergeant Matthew Telford, also of the Grenadier Guards, had served in the army all his adult life. This father of 2 young sons was described by his family as a gentle giant. An army friend said, "Matt had an enormous personality and heart to match. Always with a smile on his face, he was the first to cheer people up when they were down." Corporal Stephen Boot was a military policeman trying to pass on what he knew of law enforcement. His parents said, "Our son Stephen was a wonderful, genuine young man, a son and friend who can never be replaced, but never be removed from our hearts." Corporal Nicholas Webster Smith was another military police officer. His family said this: "An irreplaceable son, brother, boyfriend and friend, he always put others first and will be greatly missed. Nick will forevermore, always be in our hearts." The Afghan policeman who killed the 5 Britons seriously wounded 6 others. They have already been flown back to Britain. A military transport plane converted into a flying hospital, seen here bringing the injured back to Birmingham, to specialist medical care and to their families. The family of Guardsman Jimmy Major had been looking forward to celebrating his 19th birthday next week. Now, like many others, they debate the wisdom of continuing this war.
We have to support it because Jimmy supported it.
That somebody somewhere ought to start pulling the plug.
It's a war we can't win, never win it.
It's a war that continues to claim British lives, with bullets, booby traps and now treachery. Paul Davis, ITV News.
Well, after what happened on Tuesday, it was never going to be business as usual for British troops continuing their training of Afghan police. Our correspondent John Ray has been out with the Coldstream Guards and Royal Military Police in Helmand Province. For security reasons, we can't say exactly where. Here's his report.
As you guys go by to my right, where I am, look right, there's a crowd of people, just keep your eyes on it.
No wonder they watch each other's backs more carefully than ever.
Yep.
The British soldiers working with Afghan police, an organisation whose reputation precedes it.
Some of them are fairly crooked, but, you know, I think that's the case with most institutions, unfortunately.
48 hours ago, at a checkpoint like this, an Afghan policeman shot down 11 of their comrades.
And I don't want him to follow any tracks.
Platoon Commander Ben Rutt says most of the Afghans are brave and committed, but he admits his men are jumpy.
Okay, prepare to move. I think all of us are slightly more paranoid to a degree, but I think that's only natural. They are completely aware of the incident, and they understand how we're feeling. With our slight, increased nervousness, slightly more anxious around them.
We soon find out why trust is in such short supply.
And if he had issues, would he feel safe going to the ANP about?
When the patrol moves on, the village elder tells us the police often demand bribes, and there's worse.
Do you think the police are also sometimes the same as the Taliban?
Yeah, I think so, because you can't really tell who are they. It's not written down in their forehead they are Taliban or police, whatever.
The British are here to mentor the Afghans to turn poorly paid, barely trained recruits into an efficient force. But while we watch, one simply wanders off to make a phone call.
Me myself, I didn't really have any much trust in them anyway. We're always on his toes around them. Some of them are worse than others, some are fine. But yeah, it certainly did, especially with the regarding the incident. I just made myself more alert.
But then a major coup for the Afghans.
They have the extra long turban at the back as well.
They've spotted men they believe may be linked to the insurgency.
And these guys have the real nose for it. They can recognise accents from out of the area. They'll recognise different styles of dress.
They're suspicious because the men are from outside this district, and what they're doing now is searching the hut looking for weaponry, ammunition, detonators, anything that might say that they're Taliban.
The weapons are probably in a compound immediately in front of me. However, the commander is again unwilling to search the compound.
The reason the Afghan commander refuses is that there are women in the house.
It's frustrating, surely.
It is, absolutely. But we've got to keep trying because we can only get better.
As the light faded, they headed back to the checkpoint to share the night. Afghan police and British soldiers. It is not the only kind of common ground they must find. John Ray, ITV News, Helmand.